Hello YouTube, my name is Jack Clark, Duelist coming to you with another video. How are you? So we have some more information from Duelist Pack, Legendary Duelist. In fact, we have a lot of information from a lot of sets. So much information to talk about. I'm going to be really busy over the next couple of days making content for you guys. So we have some new cards from Legendary Duelists. So we have no more Ultra Rares to talk about in the set. They've all been confirmed. But now we have some of the smaller cards that are going to give those Ultra Rares some context. So today I'm going to be talking about the one that excites me the most, which is the new Cyberdark support. We all called it. We all knew that it was going to be coming. So we got the new Cyberdark support that will be coming out in this set. So we have 3 cards to talk about thus far. We may have more in the future. We're not quite sure how they are formatting the spoilers for these cards. But first off, we're going to be talking about Cyberdark Cannon, a Dark Dragon type effect monster, level 3, 1600 attack and 800 defense. So you can only use this card's first and second effects once per turn each. So the first effect is that you can discard it from your hand to add a machine type Cyberdark monster from your deck to your hand. The second effect is that during damage calculation, when a monster that this card is equipped to as an equipped card attacks or is attacked, you can send one monster from your deck to the graveyard. Third effect is that if this card is sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you can draw a card. So, 3 effects that make, basically, if you'd given us just this card would have been more than enough to make Cyberdarks at least playable, which is fantastic because Cyberdarks, of course, always had the coolest aesthetic. I mean, Cyber's always really cool fan favorite archetype, but then they made evil versions of them. Of course people are going to like that. I mean, that's the Sonic, that's the shadow to your Sonic. That's the yin and your yang. It's just so goddamn... I just made a Sonic analogy. I'm sorry, I feel dirty now. Oh, god damn it. So, Cyberdark Cannon has 3 effects, of course, 3 very good effects, no less. So the first effect, allowing you to search for a machine-type Cyberdark monster from your deck to your hand by discarding it, is incredibly good, in addition to acting as a rotor, but it's also attached to a monster, which means, of course, if you don't know what the Cyberdark machine monsters originally did, they allowed you to, once they were normal summoned, equip them with a level 3 or lower dragon monster from your graveyard to them, and then they would gain attack equal to that monster's attack. So, in the past, of course, you used stuff like Hunter Dragon, Exploder Dragon, all of these cards that were really quite lackluster. I mean, Hunter Dragon was a vanilla normal monster, but was played because it had 1700 attack. It was literally announced and released as a monster to use as Cyberdarks in Tactical Evolution. I think they gave a lot of vanilla monsters to archetypes in Tactical Evolution, but it literally exists for Cyberdarks because they realized, oh shit, we made this restriction that they had to be level 3 or lower dragons specifically, so we need to make sure they can have some actual decent attack. Because that being said, 1700 attack meant that you could normal summon a Cyberdark monster and it would equip the Hunter Dragon, and then it would have 2500 attack because it gained attack equal to its attack, but they had 800 attack initially as well. So, of course, with Cyberdark Cannon, you can discard it, add Cyberdark Horn from your deck to your hand, normal summon Cyberdark Horn, equip Cyberdark Cannon from your graveyard to it, and it would gain 1600 attack, meaning it would have 2400 attack points on a normal summonable monster, and of course, whilst equipped to it, the second and third effects mean that, well, of course, the second effect means that when it attacks, you can send a monster from your deck to the graveyard, which of course allows you to enable and of course facilitate other monster effects. This is just generic monster Foolish Burial. This is just a generic Foolish Burial whenever it attacks, which is incredibly good and can of course be abused depending on the tech choices, because of course now Cyberdarks get a lot more splashable, because of course you can now send any monster from your deck to the graveyard with Cyberdark Cannon. Really nice. And of course, if a monster that's card was equipped to as an equipped card attacks or is attacked, you send it to the graveyard regardless. It doesn't have to be a Cyberdark monster. Of course, we have the Red Eye support that is, of course, a equipped spell-based archetype in this set as well. So there's going to be a Red Eyes and a Cyberdark hybrid deck, which, I mean, my aesthetic, my 12-year-old self is freaking out, guys. This is the coolest shit I've ever seen. So, in addition to that, of course, it has a really good utility effect, allowing your Cyberdark monster when it attacks. It will have 2400 attack, allow you to Foolish Bury a monster upon attacking or being attacked, and even when it's sent to the graveyard, you get to draw a card, so it turns it into a +1, and of course a floater as well. So it means that battle-wise, it gives the Cyberdarks something they desperately needed. If not protection, then it gives them the utility and the value plays from actually playing them. So Cyberdark Cannon, stupidly good, incredibly good support, and I'm incredibly happy. It's a shame they didn't make it more dragonic, because the entire point of them being that they are dragons. These are the dragons you want to equip to them, but they don't really look like dragons. They just kind of look like regular Cyberdark monsters. That being said, I really like the artwork of this anyway. Kind of looks like a really creepy centipede. And of course, it's the cannon that is appeared on Cyberdarkness Dragon's artwork, so called it. Either way, we got the next card, which is Cyberdark Claw. exactly the same stats as Cyberdark Cannon. Dark Dragon type monster. It is an effect monster. Level 3, 1600 attack, 1800 defense. So, just like the other one, you can only use its first and second effects once per turn each. You can see where we're going with this. The first effect is that you can discard this card from your hand to add a Cyberdark spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. Second effect is that during damage calculation, when a monster that this card is equipped to as an equipped spell attacks or is attacked, you can send one monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. Third effect is that if this card is sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you can target a Cyberdark monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So this card also really cool. Not nearly as good as the Cannon, but I mean the Cannon kind of answers all the answers. It gives us all the answers we were really hoping for with Cyberdarks. So Cyberdark Claw is just there to make it more consistent and make it even just nicer, honestly. So the first effect, of course, following in the same vein as Cyberdark Cannon, allowing you to discard it from your hand to add a Cyberdark spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. So as of this recording, the only ones we have, of course, are Cyberdark Impact, which is a card that allowed you to summon Cyberdark Dragon, which I think was also in Tactical Evolution. I don't know. Basically, it was a fusion spell card for them, which of course doesn't really synergize well with Cyber Darkness Dragon, but it is searchable by this. But in addition to that, we also have another card that can be searched by this that we will be talking about in today's video that becomes searchable by this card. That being said, it is a spell card, and we have not had any other Cyberdark trap cards actually announced thus. So they're either leaving themselves open to announce a Cyberdark trap card later on down the line, or maybe even further along in the future. That being said, assuming they get like a Cyberdark Fusion, which I would freak out over, this is a card that allows you to, of course, search for your spells and traps, which, of course, would add more consistency to the deck, in addition to setting up a Cyberdark Machine-type monsters effect, because, of course, it discards for the cost and sends it to the graveyard, as, of course, the Cannon does as well. So the second effect is exactly the same as the Cannon, but instead of sending a monster from your main deck to the graveyard, it sends it from the extra deck to the graveyard. Now, I was expecting it to send like a spell or trap card, but actually this sends in monsters from the extra deck to the graveyard, actually adds something that we haven't seen before. Now, we've seen various effects that allow you to send monsters from your extra deck to the graveyard, stuff like Gale Dogra, of course, actually playable and used, paying 3,000 life points to send something like the Herald of Arclight from your extra deck to the graveyard just to be able to search for a ritual card. It was played, it was used, it was an interesting card, and it is a card that has not been really attached to any archetypes or any really playable practical mechanics since. So Cyberdark Claw, of course, gives this effect to the monster when that monster attacks or is attacked, and while it's equipped to it as an equipped card. So, like I said, there is going to be a Red Eyes or even a Buster Blader kind of support archetype here, or there's going to be some kind of hybrid which will be able to make use of this as well. But the main thing I like about this mainly is that in old school Cyberdark decks, you would do stuff like Future Fusion, of course, pre-errata, which allowed you to send like 5 dragons from your deck to the graveyard, of course, to summon the 5-headed dragon, or FGD, as is more betterly known. And then you, of course, doing the next turn, you get a 5-god dragon, assuming they didn't get rid of it. Now, Future Fusion back in the day would allow you to just fill up your graveyard and, of course, facilitate all your Cyberdark monsters' effects. But these days, you can't really do that. So how do you get a really big ass dragon into your graveyard to attach to a Cyber Darkness dragon or a Cyber Dark dragon? Well, you send it from your extra deck to the graveyard. So you just cut out the middleman and you just literally send FGD directly from your extra deck to the graveyard, which is really nice because it means that Cyber Darkness dragon gets incredibly powerful and will gain 5,000 attack points in a more practical, useful effect, which means you don't have to add loads of really janky dragon monsters to your main deck that aren't the Claw and aren't the Cannon, because these cards on their own are enough to facilitate them as it is, and of course synergize with the deck. Now, its last effect, of course, allowing you to add a Cyberdark monster from your graveyard to your hand when it's sent to the graveyard after being equipped, is really useful as well. This is much better mid to late game. Of course, the first effect, the effect of the Cannon allowing you to draw a card is really nice as well, but this allows you to guarantee you get a Cyberdark monster, which is really nice as well. So mid to late game, of course, if this is equipped to a card, you will be able to add, assuming that the monster it was equipped to also went to the graveyard, which is a common occurrence if it's like destroyed by battle. I mean, they will have 2,400 attack, but equally that's not enough. So for this, it allows you to add that Cyberdark monster to your hand for you to next turn normal summon it, which is really quite nice actually, so I don't dislike it. But not nearly as good as Claw, as Cannon even, but the Claw is still incredibly good and has lots more utility, and it'll be interesting to see how this card is used in other decks other than Cyberdark, or how it facilitates hybrids between Cyberdarks and other archetypes. So, last card we're going to be talking about today is Cyberdark Inferno. Now, it is a field spell. Now, it has 3 effects, and the second and third effects can only be used once per turn. So the first effect is that Cyberdark effect monsters you control, equipped with equip cards, cannot be targeted by or destroyed by an opponent's card effects. Second effect is that you can target a Cyberdark monster you control, return it to the hand, and then you can immediately, after this effect resolves, normal summon a Cyberdark monster. The third effect is that if this card is if this card is on the field is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can add 1 polymerization spell card or a fusion spell card from your deck to your hand. So, of course, all 3 effects, incredibly good. Now, it only took me, I've done a couple of takes of this video, and it's only really just hit me how good the second effect is. Of course, the second effect allowing you to return a Cyberdark monster you control to the hand, and then immediately normal summon another one. I was like, what benefit would you have to that? Then I remembered the Claw and the Cannon, of course, have effects when they're sent to the graveyard whilst they're being equipped to a monster. So this, of course, allows you to facilitate those effects. So, of course, if you just, I don't know, you discard the Cannon, search for Horn, normal summon Horn, equip the Horn with the Cannon, and then, of course, you have your Cyberdark Inferno, for example. Or, even better, if you already have a Cyberdark monster in your hand, you can just discard the Cyberdark Claw, which of course will then search for this because it's a spell card. You then, of course, return it to the hand, the monster is equipped to it, goes to the graveyard, and you either get to draw a card or add a Cyberdark monster from your graveyard to your hand. So that's a really nice utility effect, and just being able to draw cards on the fly each turn is really quite nice. In addition to the fact that, of course, anything that is like a continuous effect that would be attached to a Cyberdark monster would get removed. So I don't know if I don't think Fiendish Chain is used very often anymore, but those kind of effects would be not very good against Cyberdarks at least. The first effect, of course, making them so they can't be targeted or destroyed by a card effect is really nice as well. Of course, these Cyberdark monsters have not aged very well, but this support actually gives them extra layers of value and utility, which means they can contend with the heavy hitters. Of course, this makes them all Magus Spectres, essentially, and of course the other ones, the Claw and the Cannon, give them utility effects when they attack or are attacked, and of course makes them floaters when they are essentially sent to the graveyard. So it's just adding layers and more layers of effects to make their better to use. The third effect, of course, can't be manipulated very well by your own ways, but of course allows you to get a polymerization spell or a fusion spell from your deck to your hand. It's a shame it doesn't allow you to search for Power Bond, though. It's such a shame. I was hoping we'd see like some kind of, like we saw like the bonding cards for the Water Dragon support, but I was hoping there was going to be some kind of bonding or bond spell card support in this set, because of course that would tie 2 GX archetypes together, and plus, freaking Power Bond is probably one of the cooler fusion cards, and it's just a shame it doesn't synergize very well with the other polymerization and fusion support. That being said, it allows you to search for those stuff, which is always nice. Adding extra layers of consistency to the Cyberdark deck is always welcome. So that's pretty much it. That's all we have to talk about today, guys. I'm stupidly excited. I'm going to make a Cyberdark, Red Eyes, maybe even a Buster Blader hybrid deck. This is so goddamn cool. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm so pumped for the rest of the cards in the set. We have so much information to talk about. We've got Roids, we've got structure deck stuff, we've got so much information, not even just from this set, I'm going to be talking about in the coming days. But thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. And of course, if you liked it, then do leave me a like. Do tell me what you think about this new Cyberdark support in the comments down below. I would really like to hear from you. And tell me some combos. Tell me what you can do with these cards as well, because I'm uber pumped for these cards. This is a major part of my childhood, and I'm really excited to see what we can do with them. But that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This is, of course, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Musketeer. More videos coming out to you soon, but until then, goodbye.